Excellent. Roll.
Red is on. We are on.
Today is Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. The time is 4:47. Let this meeting of the Tilton Board of Selectmen now come to order. Please let the record show that John Scanlon has not joined us as of yet, but I'm sure he is on his way. And the rest of us are in attendance. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Don't say it.
Are you gonna do the Star Spangled Banner for us now?
No, I'll
I
save
think
you
we
all
should.
from that agony.
We could arrange for someone to do that. I know somebody that can bang that out really quick.
Officer Appleby, you're here to see us this evening? Is this a non-public or a public discussion? All right, I'll make a motion to go on to non-public. I believe it's A, is it not? As per 91A:3A. Dismissal, promotion.
Personnel.
Okay, that's A.
Second.
We're on motion to seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right. Bring in the next group. Bring in the next group. I keep reading these email threads and I'm just like, I can't believe he was I can't. Special field. It's Thursday night, every traffic will be horrible. I can imagine tomorrow night. Oh. Is it?
Which side's he representing?
That's my top. Like, flip a coin. That's my top.
Hey Steve, do you have this Sunday a rain day?
No, that's good.
So the thunder showers are supposed to roll in tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm
You gotta make it final. And rain days are probably gonna be,
2 hours.
rain days are probably gonna be Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Well, good luck.
thanks. That sounds
Where's everybody else?
No, good luck, yes. I'm confident.
It's really today.
Are we expecting any more?
What's with the empty seats here?
It's a part of our training. We have to stay in the back so we can see everything in front of us.
This is the back to the wall thing?
okay.
Steve.
So we're looking at
Thanks, Derek.
Don't you think?
Probably.
Which I don't feel.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
All right. Do we want to get started? Are you waiting for anybody else? Yeah, I know. I'm going to. Didn't hear an answer to my question, gentlemen. Do you want to get started, or are you waiting for others?
waiting for one more.
I know Officer Trout's walking up.
We can do our minutes right now if you want us to delay a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. That's okay.
I do have a question. Some of you are here. Nephew, if you call me man one more time, you clearly. Do you want this in public or non-public? Anybody? I'm not seeing a real reason to put it into public, non-public. Unless somebody,
Except if you go into details about scheduling and then that's a public safety issue, then we go into non-public. We don't want you to.
Why don't we just do non-public?
well, because it's better for the public to hear as much as they can than to go into non-public, so,
It's supposed to be less,
yeah.
supposed to avoid.
And I can't quite, it doesn't quite fit into criteria, but unless we're gonna be slandering each other, though you can slander us all you want because we're elected
We
officials.
can't go into non-public for our reasons. We can never go into up. If you're gonna slander us, you slander us in public.
All right, I'm gonna start it in public when we start,
But Ashley worried.
and then we can always go into non-public if it gets there, so just be careful about specifically talking about other than elected officials in a negative manner.
Direct all your questions to Ashley.
All right. All right, let's, while we're waiting for a few others, let's look at the minutes of June 8th,
I
please.
think that his person's here.
I thought he said 2. And their count confounding. Minutes of June 8th, please.
Under the MSW/SSR, can we put the definition of a toter? I know I asked if a toter and a bin. Just so if somebody reading it.
I thought they were the same thing.
They are, but they use one to refer to solid waste and one for recycle.
If we can add that in there.
There's something about a total.
I thought it depended where it came from. Kind of like soda, pop, and tonic. Anything else?
Under pending business fireworks ordinance, fireworks are determined by the fire department. It's worded a little bit different here. It says, after speaking with the fire captain, it was determined fireworks should be considered as open burning. It's considered as an open burn, and the fire department, if called, will have the authority to stop the fire. As an open burn, not open burning.
Anything else? Make a motion to accept the minutes of Thursday, June 8th, 2017 as corrected.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah. Page 2. Okay. There was a discussion of boarding houses and residential units with in-law apartments under the new accessory dwelling unit law. The in-law apartment unit would have 2 totes and 2 bins. Isn't that the property would have 2? Or does the apartment get 2 and 2 and the resident 1 and 1?
Yes, you're right.
The way it's worded,
It said there would, right. It should be the property.
the property,
So it should say the in-law apartment unit would qualify the property to have 2 totes and 2 bins.
the total for the property would be 2 and 2.
There you go, that's better.
That's all.
You got that, Gail?
Good catch.
Very nice. Anything else? Oh,
Last week we said to, on the electric light for the island.
The 15th we did, not the 8th.
I think it was first, as it says in here, brought to our attention, but I think it wasn't investigated thoroughly until. All right, we good? All those in favor? Motion on the table.
Aye.
All right.
Yes. Alrighty. Done. Check that way. All right. Who would like to speak first?
You guys need to sit up there, stand up here, what would you like?
Oh, to this? Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I thought it was an optional. The chief would like us to get him on speakerphone. Do we want him, can he hear better on our phone?
He said he would hear better on an iPhone or my phone.
Whatever you'd like.
Go right ahead.
You want me to dial him
I
up?
can call him on my phone.
Yours is a flip phone. Yeah.
This
Talking
is
to
a
that
good
mic.
phone.
Yes. Yep.
My pocket. It's not good for anything else.
Hello?
All right, you're on speakerphone, chief.
All right, thank you, Pat.
All right.
The world is listening.
Thank you guys for letting me do this. My leg is up on pillows and swollen like hell, so I appreciate this.
You're welcome.
Okay,
All
thanks for
right.
the visual.
He's swearing in public.
Hey, Chief, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, Matt.
Okay. So, my name's Matt Dawson.
Thank you. I was going to say, so if you come up to speak, please introduce yourself, because we are.
I'm a patrolman here at Tilton PD, where I've been for 13 years, a little over. The reason that we're here, I guess, in you guys' June, I believe it was the June 3rd meeting that you guys had, there was some maybe misconception, confusion, or maybe some improper knowledge of what goes on at the PD, what our hours are, what we're taking for time off. So we're here to field any of you guys' questions that you may or may not have in regards to said meeting.
Before we continue, I just want to say that I believe there's 2 subjects. What I brought up was an issue of, and this was my comment, as much as I can remember, that officers had taken from the schedule 13
and a half hours of paid time off
13
to work
5.75.
to work details to make more money.
Thank you. And we still don't have coverage for our parking, and we don't have coverage for Main Street. So,
So is it your vision
but for me,
as the board is that when time is taken off, that is filled? Is that what you guys are under the understanding? I mean, we'll use me for an example, even though I don't think I've done it. If I take a detail on my 4-hour block, if I take a detail on my, at like say 7 o'clock in the morning, and it may run into my 4-hour block. If I take an hour of time off, and then come in and go to work for the other 3, then I took an hour of paid time off to work a detail, right? So there seems to be an issue possibly with the board that either, number one, it didn't get filled, right?
That wasn't my issue.
Okay.
My issue is that it was really,
Is that I took an hour off
no,
to work the detail.
my issue is if we can afford to have officers take time off, whatever that is, from their regularly scheduled hours of work for the town of Tilton, if they can take those off and work a detail and spare that time, then why can't we have officers patrolling Main Street? I won't go into that detail. And dealing with our parking issue, because what we're creating in Winnisquam, and I think everybody's aware of that, we're adding parking, we're making it a one-way, we already have communication going back and forth from one of the residents to the Board of Selectmen and the police department. That's going to take patrolling by the police to enforce and make it a success.
Correct.
So what
But
I
there's-
have seen is we're not getting that patrolling in our parking regulations, because I'm calling myself to say, hey, somebody's parked out front in the evenings when we have meetings, and by this time we should know it's a hot time. In my mind, I feel the officers should check during that hot time, say between 4:30 or 5 o'clock, when our meetings take place, and say, let's say 7 or 8. But it's not. We have to call up.
Okay.
So that's my frustration. I expressed it, the board didn't. Is if that time can be taken off from patrol, then why can't we have these things covered by patrol?
Right. Well, if we're taking a detail, those usually happen during the day, not at 5 or 4. The overnight paving starts at 6:30. The paid time off portion, and we run into it often. We discussed it during union negotiations, and we didn't think that it happened often. But there may be a company that we work for that hires us from 7 to 3, and my shift may start at 2.
Okay.
Well, that company may kick us loose at 1 o'clock and pay us till 3. So would you have me come in at 2 and double dip, if you will, to use Pat's term, or wait till 3 or 4 to come on duty, or come on at 2 when we're supposed to come on?
Anybody? For me personally,
That's not an
that's
issue.
not an issue for me. When you are on a detail, I recognize that the town's not paying you, the contractor is. If the contractor's paid you for an hour, and you come and work for the town of Tilton, well, we haven't paid you for that hour yet because you haven't worked it. The contractor may have.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with that. I don't see that as you turned it double dip.
Okay.
Because we haven't paid you. I don't care what. You may have another job. Any one of you may have a second job someplace.
Right.
And the town of Tilton should not be concerned with that. When you're working for that contractor, if you will, it's like a second job, because you're not working for the town of Tilton.
Well-
You're representing the town of Tilton,
Sure.
but you're not working for us at that time. So I don't see it as double dipping. I know that was long-winded, but anybody else have a comment on that question?
It seems it's more important to cover the shift, so it's better for you to come in at the 2, regardless of that. So the
I
shift's
agree.
covered, so
I agree.
and that was what I got
I agree
out of
too.
the whole conversation was.
So I agree too.
Okay.
It's a contractual
Let's-
thing, it was a contractual thing that was negotiated, and it was brought up in negotiation, so it doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about here, or what we talked about on June 1st at Thursday's meeting.
Right.
John, did you want to finish your
Yeah.
thought?
What after looking at the time, and that it seemed like it was more likely for some of the officers to take the 4 hours as PTO, to just to take off and work like a whole day. in that it was actually leaving a shortage on patrol, people doing patrol during that time. So it was more likely that there would be, I forget how many 4-hour segments there are a week.
It's gonna be,
Each officer gets a 4 hours.
is it 6 or 4?
So there's how many
What's the
4
new-
hours a week?
Officer Pennell, answer that.
I'll wait till you're done, sir. I can explain. I
Yeah,
can
go
answer
ahead.
the question if you want.
That's all. I just want to know how many 4-hour shifts there are a week.
Luke Pennell, Corporal Tilton PD. So each officer assigned to the patrol division, which currently is 8 patrolmen and two patrol corporals, all have a 4-hour block. So generally, we have placed 4-hour blocks, either 2 to 6, 3 to 7, Monday through Sunday. So every day, we have that additional car that is out there for coverage. We use it to our advantage at times, being a scheduling officer. We've been scheduling out for 4.5 years, so I'm fairly well versed in it. I know.
So there's 12 4-hour shifts a week?
8.
No, there's 10. 8. There's 10. 8 patrolmen 4-hour blocks, and then 2 corporal 4-hour blocks.
Would you say that out of those 10, is it more likely that those will be used for PTO than other times?
I would say no.
How many times of those 4-hour blocks a week are you averaging that are used as PTO? That was the concern.
Week to week, I definitely probably couldn't give you an absolute answer on that. Like I can tell you this week, we had 80 hours of paid time off that we're taking. Some of that was 4-hour blocks, but that's because the officers both took a full 40 hours off. Actually, correction on that. One officer took 36 hours and worked today. The other one has a full 40 hours. So out of that 76 hours of paid time off, I was able to move some of the 4-hour blocks to help with the coverage to eliminate overtime in those goals. I also was able to use that 4-hour block on Saturday to shift down to help with the parade to alleviate overtime. And then Friday night, I moved it to a little bit later with that 4-hour block in order to assist with the movement. So the purpose of the 4-hour block is there in order to help with any coverage that is needed, whether or not it's a vacancy. If there's a vacancy where someone takes their 12-hour block off, I use that 4-hour block to either shift lower or higher in order to save overtime for the town. When an officer does take a 4-hour block off, and I'll just say, for instance, if an officer takes 10 and 4-hour blocks off within the course of the year, that saves me 40 hours of paid time off that that officer gets. Now, when they do, if we did not have that opportunity, the 4-hour block, that 40 hours would be somebody that took a full week off, which generates a substantial amount of overtime. So it's actually a very large savings, and I believe the finance director spoke to, as of the last 2 years when we've gone to the 12s, how there's been a substantial savings in overtime. The purpose of that is because if I end up saving 200 hours of paid time off between all my employees to the 4-hour blocks they take off, either by taking PTO or at times towards the end of the year, I recommend that they use comp time during those times, so now they can save again in the overtime line as we're not paying them out for that time that they earn for either working overtime, being home or something like that. And so the substantial savings is there. Now, one thing I will point out is whether or not during that window of 2 to 6, 3 to 7, or if we shift it lower or higher, when officers do take that off, we already have the standard shifts on the road to include, I won't give the number, but multiple patrolmen as well as a patrol supervisor. During the week, Monday through Friday, generally is when these details that we're referencing occur when people are taking their 4-hour blocks off. We also have our detective division, our 3 administrators generally, as long as one of them doesn't break the leg. The SRO, if we need to take more employees. And so we have the resources available during the day for these coverages. If we're all human, we get sidetracked, we're a very busy agency working for our size. And when you look at the amount of calls, the volume, and I printed up some numbers and whatnot, we're just shy, if not, we crested 6,000 calls for the year. So that's 12,000 calls, which is probably about 20% higher than the year before last. And we're right in the same neighborhood, about 200 calls making a difference of where we were at this time last year. I know our prosecutor spoke to it We're very busy in the courts. We're one of the biggest agencies in the Franklin district. The officers are getting their paperwork done on time, in a timely and accurate fashion, that we're getting to our prosecutor, who will speak to that, because we should get them later. The purpose of the 4-hour blocks is multiple. For me as a scheduling officer, I've been doing this. I've been actually in charge of the schedule since I became a corporal 4.5 years ago. Prior to that, I took the bids and I gave that to Lieutenant Claus at the time, and he noted it, but I somewhat managed it. So I've been doing it for probably over 5 years now. Since we've gone to the 12s, I've been able to save the town money. I believe that it's good for our officers because it does give them more family time. I know there's been reference about when we work the 8s or if we could do 10s. We tried 10s back a few years ago when the chief was gone, and that didn't work. We were called back down here and we went back to the 8s. Since we've implemented my schedule, the schedule that I had a hand in making, the officers have more time at home with their families. If we were to go to a schedule like, say, a 10, because I know there's been a rumor about people wanting to do that. You guys mentioned it last week. That's 52 nights a week, a year. 52 nights a year that an officer won't be home to be able to stay with their loved one to tuck their children in bed. Because if you're working, that's going to require you to go out more. Even if an officer has a 4-hour block, whether they work it or they take it off, that 4-hour block gets them out the door at 6 or 7 p.m. and they get home and kiss their loved ones on their foreheads. We all gone into this job and we know that it's not always the easiest. We're gone during holidays, we're gone for birthdays. It's hard to make finance struggle. This schedule gives off the opportunity to control somewhat over their lifestyle, to be able to be there for their families. We have some officers that don't work any details and they use that PTO to their advantage sometimes and they can save on daycare. There's so many reasons on why it's good. Like I said, the savings for me as a scheduler, when I have to make sure that I can make the adjustments and make the shifts. And I think when I came down here, I told you guys, hey, let's see if it works. Let's see if we save money. And I think the finance director spoke to that we have done. Our officers are on work, they're working hard, it's not like they're tired, they're on back because they're getting it done, because they're getting the paperwork done, and they're getting it to us, and we get it to the prosecutor. The prosecutor's getting guilty convictions. So that means we're doing something. The most important thing to all of us is family. We do this job, we want to keep the community safe, but we also have families that we take care of. And it will go a long way for us to stop having this debate every 6 months or every 12 months. And for you guys to support us and support our leaders, I've spoken with the chief. The chief is in support of what we do. He thinks I do a good job. I've dedicated my time to you guys. I dedicate my time to every single one of these guys next to me, and they dedicate the same to us. And I hope that you guys support us. Are there any other questions about schedule?
That was quite an answer to how many 4-hour blocks in a week, but thank you. Anyone else? Pat, did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
If I remember correctly, when we went to the 3 12s and the 4, we did it on a trial basis.
2 years ago, not 3.
Can you let me finish?
Yes, I just want to make sure we have
Thanks, I appreciate
correct.
it. 3 12s and 4, correct? And we did it on a trial basis. Then we had some little bumps and whatever in it, and we asked you folks to try to help take out some of those bumps and little mishaps in between. And we sat here and we worked it out and tried to work out the bumps and everything. You assured us that you would go back to the offices and work that out. And now you're sitting here saying to us that 4-hour shift is really, you're using that shift to, well, for lack of a better term, manipulate the schedule so that it lowers the overtime. And that's really wasn't the purpose of the 4-hour shift. The purpose of the 4-hour shift, when you came to us and sold us the 4-hour shift, was that you would utilize it for the training purposes, that you would be able to sit and have that 4-hour time slot for the folks that needed the updates and training and so on and so forth, and that you would have better control over patrol. And it doesn't seem like that really has happened. since, you know, the 2 years that we've tried the 3 12s and the 4. And I get where you're coming from, Luke and Matt and Steve. I get that. So I think that we've sat here many times and gone over and said this is what we would like to see, and I think that you watch the tapes all the time, so you know what we're talking about. We talk with the chief, we talk with the captain, we said we'd like more patrols. We have complaints and residents that call in and say they're speeding on Caleb Hill Road and they're speeding on Clark Road and they're speeding on Cedar Street and High Street, and the parking downtown for 7 days in a row, the black SUV has been down there from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. and nobody's taking care of it. And you've all gotten those phone calls forever and ever. And so I guess what I'm asking, if it really means a lot to you to have 3 12s and a 4, and you really want to spend the time with your families and you know, kiss them on the forehead, whatever you want to do, then how can we make this work and have a good resolve to get the things done as selectmen need to have done to manage the town and get what the needs of the business, as we call it, the needs of the municipality, get done? Because we have to answer the taxpayers, and the taxpayers are calling us and saying, hey, how come we can't get this done? How come we can't get this done? How come we can't get this done? We go to you folks and we say, well, we go to the chief. Chief, you listening? Because you can confirm that we go to you time after time after time, and we don't see any of the results. And yet now we see the difference in the shift changes, and I get that you change for this and change for that and change for that, but we don't, when we ask for something, we don't get it. So let's try to find a resolve to this.
I think step one for resolve would be to tell these people to call dispatch. And I believe I sat down and I said that back probably a year or so ago, is that an officer's cell phone is not a pathway. What should happen is that call should go to a dispatcher, so that dispatcher can handle the call accordingly. And we tell that citizen, call 286-4442. That citizen then calls, that dispatcher gives that call out, goes into a CAD, and I hear that dispatcher on to say, Officer Opie-Jack here, and I know that we need to make sure we get on top of that. I know if there's any history behind it, and say, hey, we dealt with that call 3 times last week, let's go, let's take care of business. As far as the black SUV, there's like 3 black SUVs out there. So if you see one and it doesn't move, it could be another car. But then the other time is we don't sit there and just stare at the vehicle for 2 hours. That vehicle could have drove out when we had dumps and came back and parked in the same place. So
not if it's chalked.
You really have to be able to make sure that you're on top of those things.
We have to go
One of the
and
answers
talk
in
to
regards to people taking time off, whether we take time off, I mean, it's our 4-hour block, if we want to go home early, whether or not we take PTO, I'm taking off next week because I have an anniversary with a lovely wife. That creates holes. And if we're talking about making sure that those holes are always filled, the issue with that is that I did some quick math. Between our court and emergency overtime last year, we spent $15,000 approximately. If you add up all of our employees in the patrol division, you add up their PTO times their overtime rate, it comes out to approximately $65,000. So you add those 2 things together, plus the overtime record generated by the detective division, or anybody else for that matter, when they get called in, you're already north of $80,000 to $90,000. We budgeted this year in 2017 $48,000. So that gap has to come from somewhere, and that's where I use the 4-hour block. It's a necessary evil. We may not like it, but unfortunately, our overtime budget of $48,000 dictates that I can't stop court, I can't stop court. And so we do what we can. When you get lemons, you make lemonade. If we need double the overtime budget is what is budgeted.
A 4-hour shift is not lemonade. Trust me.
Well,
So,
I understand what you're saying. However, what's more important, a 4-hour block when I have 6 other employees at the station working between detectives and everything else? Or is it more important on a weekend night where the overtime's not there, so we have to run late? it's, I think most people would probably say, yeah, weekend nights, maybe a little bit more important than Monday through Friday, when you have 3 administrators and 2 detectives and an SRO around.
But you don't have those 5 people that are gonna come down here, chalk tires, walk around, talk to anybody. And the problem is this, with your concern or question about the 4-hour blocks. So this week, we had an officer take the midnight shift off. So they asked the guys that have 4-hour blocks, hey, would you come in lieu of your 4-hour block during the week? Well, you're not going to see me walking on Main Street between the 2 or the 7 hours because I came in at 3 o'clock in the morning to cover some of that 4-hour shift, which in turn saves overtime.
So your 4-hour
If
shift
that
became a
happened.
3 a.m. to 7
Yes.
today?
Not today.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Why wouldn't you walk?
At 3 a.m.? Well, we could be doing something else. I mean,
But if you're
it's
not,
not,
why wouldn't you?
right, if we're not, yeah, that could be one thing. We all have paperwork, which people fail to realize how much paperwork there is in this. There's
Yeah.
tons, right? So, I've been down to the Winnisquam Market for the issue, the parking, everything that's going on down there that has created a stir this week. And I'm going to be down there again tomorrow, without a doubt. So, a lot of times we may go where we're called, and if we're not called down here, you guys fielding a complaint down here while you guys are down here, and then shooting a text to the chief, and then him shooting a text to somebody else, it doesn't get logged anywhere that call came in. So when we'll use day shift for an example. Terry would be, hey Matt, are you going to go check on that car that's on Main Street? Oh yeah, I forgot, because in between the 3 other calls, if there's not an immediate call for action down here and we're off doing other things, we prioritize, and unfortunately walking on Main Street is not a priority when you have 4 people in custody at Kohl's and they're juveniles, so you have to call their parents, get their parents to come to the station to pick them up. That takes time, and time takes away from being down here. We have been down here. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't see us out back writing tickets and all that stuff, and then 3 of the people call up and complain at the PD and the ticket gets taken away. So if I'm going to come down here and write tickets, why are they going to get taken away when they call up there? Oh, well, it ran out, but our parking passes, they don't have an expiration date on them. There's no date when they're good for or not good for. They're color coded, so you have to know what color code. So there's a purple color code for a business owner. There's a yellow for like a town employee. There's a red for whatever it is. So now we got 3 different colors that are supposed to park or not supposed to park. And then, I wrote a ticket to a lady out behind, down near T-Hop. Well, she called up, you guys only own 7 spaces. Well, she was in the 8th, I gave her a ticket. Which ticket? It should have been forgiven, but which side of the 7 are there? There's 4 over here and 3 over here. Well, where does it start? Where does it end? If they're not either painted or labeled or something, only parked between here and here is the town. So if it's
No signs there yet?
there's no signs that say between
Didn't we order 'em
here
last
and
fall?
here.
I thought we did.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't think they're out there. I'm quite sure
They're
they're
supposed to put them
not.
up to help delineate.
Yeah, so that would
Someone can-
that would have changed, obviously, that, now we're gonna have more parking issues down at the bridge. So where do you want me to enforce? Do you want me chalking tickets down here, or do you want me at the other end of town?
Both.
Check, well, I realize that, but sometimes
Don't forget
it doesn't.
Don't forget
And then I got,
bicycle riders,
then I have
not
the-
the people who
but we haven't taken any complaints of those people, right? You guys may have, but the PD hasn't. Or if they have, they haven't gone through the proper channel. Our jobs are stressful, and I think everybody gets that, right?
no question.
I really think, this one here is afraid to go do a ride-along because she doesn't want to see
To my
what
defense,
happens.
have I done a ride along?
So,
Many years ago.
many moons ago, so Ashley comes and does a ride along for a couple hours one day, and something bad happens.
If you're not gonna give me a gun and let me participate.
You
I'm
can't
not-
have that. You can't have
It's
that.
no fun.
You can't have that. So the stress that we are under in a quick,
Please don't
very
ever do
quick situation, and then it's, hey, go deal with the public for parking. And then we get, what gives you the authority to put chalk on my tire and damage my tire? Well, the
Did you
selectmen say
tell
we
the
do.
board? Yeah, did you
What about
tell?
the meters that they punch in and they put a ticket in it?
Are we having parking meters downtown?
Real.
Payment kiosk, I don't know.
Payment kiosk.
So, and then with there always seems to be the issue with the 4-hour block, whether people take it off or not. Well, our paid time off is our paid time off, and we can use it for whatever. So would you rather have me take a 12-hour shift off, where you're gonna have to fill and even when we take a 12-hour shift off, Luke doesn't fill all 12 hours. So someone sucks it up for 4 hours, and we fill 8 of the 12. So would you rather us take a full 12 off, and then have to fill at least 8 of it? Or would you rather us take a 4-hour block off where they don't fill it and it doesn't cost you any overtime? It's a balancing act that we have to have. And, you know, in the meeting that was on in early June, it was, well, we had 9 guys take paid time, take their 4-hour block off. Well, there's only 9 guys in patrol. So that would have meant everybody took their their 4-hour block off to work a detail to make more money.
7 took it.
Well, half of us would much rather have the overtime because we make more money working an overtime shift than we do a detail.
How many people took it?
Like one guy took
How many took it?
one guy took a half hour off, another guy took a half hour off.
You checked the payroll that week, that the allegation was made, that we had 10 guys take 4-hour blocks. How many people took it?
Can't recall, there was, you know, somebody like Rich Short might take it off on a Saturday.
We
to go
didn't
coach
say
the kids to cross.
10.
Well, no,
Well, it went
so-
from
Didn't say 10.
it went from 6, then it went. Well, then we have 7, 8, or 9 guys taking their 4-hour block off. So it went from having 13 hours off to having 9 guys take it. So, you know, we're a little baffled when we hear that because we know, well, you didn't take it, and he didn't take it, but she took it. So we know that there was 4 hours, but where did the rest of this come from?
I can't tell you how many people. I
So it
just
just
counted the hours.
it just creates a huge stir of what are they talking about down there, because we know that it didn't happen. So it seems like, you know, we don't want the public misconstrued.
I think the reason that we have everybody here, Steve Henry, Tilton PD, is that we sat by, we listened, we watched. Everybody watched it. We watched the motion being made to switch our schedules from a 12 to a 10-hour block.
Where'd that go?
So
Well,
far,
that's why we're
nowhere.
here,
That's why.
because-
Didn't go anywhere.
Well, that's why we're here to talk about it.
Unanimously, everybody voted no.
Well, we were said, hey, let them come down here. They're gonna come down here anyways. So we're down here. So we're here to really squash or answer questions as to who has the problem with a 12-hour block, because everybody in control who is happy with the schedule, right? Has a high morale, has created a great work environment. Our numbers are up, right? So we're making more arrests, we're making more car stops, and we're being more productive. Then the statement was made, well, if they were working 10-hour shifts, they'd be less apt to take their 4-hour block.
Well, take less
So
time.
what you're telling me is that you want the 4-hour blocks covered. Means you want to cover it with overtime. Is that right?
That wasn't my issue, so I'm sorry.
But we don't fill the 4-hour block.
I think we'd have to look at the circumstances to be able to answer that. I'm not going to answer yes or no, unless we looked at the circumstances around what the circumstances were. If I needed to cover it in overtime, I would cover it in overtime. If I didn't, I wouldn't. And there's all sorts of issues.
There seems to be a private agenda by somebody who doesn't like the 12-hour block and has against our 12-hour schedule. I don't know why it is. I don't know what it is. But we're here to just ask the question. Does any member of the Board of Selectmen wish to change our schedule from a 12 to a 10-hour block?
We made a motion of that, we all voted against it.
Well, but I think the motion, to be fair, and I think Ashley was the first one that brought it up, shouldn't we talk to the officers? And I think by voting no, we agreed that we shouldn't take any of those actions until we did speak to the officers. I think she was right. So,
because we wanted to come down here and answer any questions.
We didn't express at that time how we felt about the 12s and the 4, I don't think.
Well, it was said,
I think
know
there
it
was
was
some
said.
confusion
Right.
on my part, I will say. I was not aware then exactly how that 4-hour block was used, or was scheduled, and what happened when it was taken off. I have, through several resources, thank you, now know how that is. But again, for me, it was not so much the schedule. And I'll tell you personally, I don't work the schedule. I don't work the 8s, I don't work the 10s, I don't work the 12s. You people do. I don't see that it doesn't work, but I still am concerned that for a lot of years, I've been asking for regular patrols of downtown. When I say that, I mean at least once or twice a day. When you have a main street and you have nefarious things going on in broad daylight, our detectives can't be there 24 hours a day. They can't be scoping out in windows waiting for something to happen. But if you have an active police presence, those nefarious deeds will either move to other places or go inside. And people coming to town that don't know town will shop downtown comfortably because they're not watching those things take place in broad daylight and thinking, my word, where's the police presence? You guys can't be in all places at all times. But word gets around. So that's my frustration. And again, the parking, and we do have the hot time in the evening, and I understand what Officer Dawson said, but it's a 24-hour issue. It's going to take place in Winnisquam when that's finally paved. I mean, we're having it painted now. Well, soon, as soon as it gets there.
It's still creating problems.
It's going to create problems.
Community officer?
I know that that's taking place, but that's the first time in years, and it's probably...
So we're all evolving, right?
But what happens when that person goes back to the previous position?
Well, that's the summertime, so that it's busier. Would you say that it's busier on Main Street during the summer? Is there more activity in the summer?
I think it's an all year round problem.
Okay.
And I think the parking issue is a continuous problem. 365 days a year and 366 during leap year.
They know exactly when you're not patrolling.
Well, the problem for me is it's the business owners that are parking in front of their own places. So if they're parking in front of their own places, it's only hurting their business.
Exactly.
No, they're not. They're parking in front of the next business down from them.
Right. So call.
So if you were to put in, so if you were to put in the kiosk, wouldn't that clean out downtown because you'd have to pay for those parking spots?
You would probably eliminate people other than those who absolutely had to shop downtown from shopping downtown. There's no parking fees at exit 20. And you have to remember, our Main Street merchants compete, really, against exit 20. They have to be very creative to get people to come down here and shop. Route 3 through Tilton is no longer the main route north or south. 93 is. So they have to get people to come to them. If you put parking meters up I'm pretty certain you'll see Main Street turn into a ghost town. Regulating it
There's my
time-wise.
point. I'm just looking for options. It's like-
I know, and it has been discussed. The chief brought it up once, and we thought
Yeah,
it was a good idea, but
they
we
were wrong.
investigated it. Chief, are you gone?
No, I'm here, Catherine. Yeah, we kind of ran into the same problem in Plymouth, and after a lot of debate, we finally did them, and it took a while, but it worked, and they paid for themselves in a year, and it just keeps the turnover going, and they made it as cheap as possible, and it was pennies to park, but it was just something to show that either they paid or they didn't pay. But I know it's not for every town, but I'm just trying to achieve turnover and sometimes just jogging, all day, every day, in all different kinds of weather. It is difficult, to keep up with it sometimes. But I just wanted to circle back to the directed patrol thing. One of the jobs that
Can everybody
Morrison's
hear
been
him?
doing is every time I get requests or we get requests for directed patrols, he's been kind of assigning them to the corporals to get them out there. I think last time I checked, we had done probably close to a couple hundred of them so far this year. And like Luke said, or someone said, once they get logged and they get issued by Sergeant Morrison or one of the corporals, the officers have to log those checks, and they do. And if you get a resident that says, I put in a request for speeding on Caleb Hill Road, I can go into the log and pull up who checked it, when they checked it, and the number of times they checked it. And I know we've done that on several streets. And so it's just, something for you to go back to the residents with if that happens.
Who has access to that log, Chief?
You just have to tell me what you need, what dates,
Can you
and
just,
what the location is, and we can pull that up.
Can
And
you
I
just-
can bring that. And we've done it before. The other thing we can do too is obviously put the speeding trailer out there, the speed trailer. But I ran director patrols a couple weeks ago, and I can look and see that wherever the locations are, like school zone, we were getting complaints of people who were speeding through the school zones. So Nate Morrison had officers out there every day, for that hour, half hour before and half hour after school was letting out. And if someone said that we weren't doing that job out there, I could show them, in detail that we are. So it's just a tool that we have when we do get complaints from residents, because we don't ignore requests for directed patrols. We definitely do them, and we definitely log them. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
can you, the next time you're in with us, just give us a sample?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I can.
I for one would like to see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Thank you, Chief.
thanks.
We do get a lot of, directed patrols, so
What exactly is the directive?
someone calls in and says there's a speeder on Lancaster Hill Road, and it's at this address. We'll go sit at that address
Sergeant directs them.
and
to
run.
that location.
He may or may not, it may go to Terry, and Terry sends out an email.
Yeah.
So we head to that location. We're in that location from the times that they say. Now, we'll sit there for an hour and log one car that's 4 miles an hour over the speed limit. It may look like people are speeding, but they're not. I mean, we could be hiding in the bushes with the handheld radar, not seeing the cruisers up the driveway, so it's not like they see us and slow down. You literally will log one person speeding. We used to get it all the time near Joe Jespin's house.
Silver
right?
Lake Road.
So we would go sit down near the dam, facing up the road. You'd sit for an hour, and you might see one car that you may or may not stop, and no way would you ticket it, for 5 over. That's when
That's where Andrew used to get them all, though.
that's when the complaints would start.
Silver Lake Road is different. There's time slots and then there's
Right.
times a year.
Right.
I'm familiar
I mean,
with it.
So
Yeah, it
that's
really
where
is.
directed patrol comes in, and then the chief says, "Oh, well, he pulled it, and we have 300." Well, that's as long as somebody logs the directed patrol. Someone might just say, "Yeah, we're over on West Main for after-school traffic." It may not be logged as directed patrol, so it won't pop up, but they know that we're there. I mean, typically in the mornings, we're there from 7 to 8, and we go back from 2 to 3. And then Yep, they didn't see me on West Main Street because the Veterans Home gets out too, so you're on Clark Road sitting over there, you know, so we're just in that populated area. You know, we sit at the stop sign at the end of Cedar Street. That's always getting blown. I mean, we could be there every day. But you get 10 stops in 5 minutes, and then it's done. So
I'd like this meeting to be productive between us, so I want to focus on things that are going to solve the issues. What I'm hearing from you, Pat, is the issue is patrol and parking, not so much the schedule. So nobody really has an issue with 12 hours. That's kind of, we're not talking about that anymore. Is that right?
I do have one question about that, if I could ask. It was said in that meeting that people from patrol were not happy with the 12-hour shifts. Well, nobody in patrol knows where that came from, so we're not sure if you guys were misinformed or if you guys just happened to
It took a roll call.
Come out with it.
Everybody that's in patrol, says that they like their 12-hour schedule. And all officers replied that they enjoy, like, and want to stay with the 12-hour schedule. So I don't know where the confusion is on that. Chief, do you support the 12-hour schedule?
Chief?
The meds are working.
Sorry about that. No, I'm here and I do, Steve. You know what, here's my feeling on the schedule. I always feel safety has to be number one with whatever schedule we're on. And I tell the officers, whether it's 8s, 10s, or 12s, if at some point it feels like the officers aren't safe on the road, that's going to be the first priority. I said, if you can make it work where you guys out there yourselves feel safe and you feel like you're not overworked with the number of calls for the schedule and the hours aren't burning you out, then I'm okay with it as long as you can make it work. You know, one of the concerns I had was, would people get tired with 12-hour shifts and would productivity go down? Would I start to see complaints about calls not being handled? Those were some of the fears I had. I know 12 hours is a long time, but I just never saw it. Productivity actually did the opposite. It went up. You know, citations went up, arrests went up, and no one seemed to be tired. You know, I checked with each officer individually. I asked Rich, I asked Noel, I asked Trot, all of them, and all of them said that it worked for them, it worked for their family, and the 12 hours didn't make them tired. I can tell you at my age it probably would, but I just think if it's safe and it works for them, I'm okay with it. All schedules, 8s, 10s, and 12s have advantages and disadvantages. So looking past that, I try to see, you know, what gives the town the best service, where is morale the highest, because I think with the highest morale, we're going to see the highest productivity. We're going to see people that want to work here, they want to donate their time to things like the movie in the park, the Explorers, you know, LEAD, those kind of things. Those are all byproducts of good morale. So how do I achieve the best morale and make sure that we're doing the best as a police department to make the residents of Tilton proud of us? And if a piece of that puzzle is the schedule, then it's an important piece. And so I've always tried to be objective about the schedule and also try to read it from the officers and all the officers to see, is this the best fit for them? And are we doing the best job as a police department for the residents? And I can say in the last year, I still can brag about the work they do every day. And I hear from residents all the time that they think our police department is outstanding and they are proud of us as residents. So I know we're doing a lot of things right. And so at any given time, you know, we can make mistakes and we can miss something. And those are times where we look in the mirror and try to fix it. But I think overall, they've worked really hard to make it work. So I guess that would be my perspective.
Chief, I got a question for you because you just said something that brought something to light.
Yeah.
So I agree with most of what you said, but movie in the park, you just said that that was donated volunteer time, is that true? All,
No, but
all
I'm just
working
saying-
on,
No, I'm not saying that they donate their time. What I'm saying is that they have, when they have high morale, they really take ownership in the town and they take ownership in the PD.
No, we
They
appreciate
try to think of what is going to make Tilton a better place to live, what is going to make the kids in town happier, you know, Operation Safety Cone, those kind of things. And when police departments have low morale, the officers come in, they punch the clock, they do their 8 hours, and they go home. And they never bring those kind of ideas to their chief. And what I see is at the end of a hard day when they're putting in, 12 hours of handling call after call, arrest after arrest, and not barely slowing down to eat, is they're still coming to me with these great ideas about how to make Tilton better. And I think those are the things that I really appreciate in the people that work for us.
okay, I just wanted to correct you on that, so make sure that the camera didn't catch just the opposite of what I heard. Thank you.
No, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Can we move beyond the
Yes,
schedule?
thank you.
This situation is convoluted and it's like getting into the schedule and it sounds like we don't even have an issue with the schedule, right? Unless you guys have anything more to say about that. No, Luke, I think you're doing a great job. Thank you. It sounds like your first priority is safety. Second would be cutting costs, being lean. So I'm in agreement with that. So the issues are patrol and parking. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Pat?
I think that's from the board,
Okay.
really, not just me.
I can, I'll take, Steve and I, at the end of the day, we're patrol supervisors. Okay, the chief is an administrator, the captain and the sergeant are administrators. If we get those requests or anything like that, if something comes in, let's get it filtered to dispatch. Dispatch will get it to one of us, and we will make sure our officers are getting the job done. If there's an issue, like I try to walk Main Street most of the time when I'm working, as long as it's not raining. I won't lie to you, I'm a fair weather walker. So if it's pouring rain, I'm not out there walking. All right, but I know most of these business owners on by first name basis, from Jesse at the King's Pine all the way down to Sam at Thomas Michael. Did I say that right?
Thomas Richard.
Thomas Richard, I apologize. So, I know Sam, I know Scott, I know Michelle, I know everybody in those businesses and pretty much mostly in between. I know most of them on a first name basis. Mr. Lawrence, not only do I know him, I call him by that even when we play soccer together. I have a relationship, I think our officers do too. And I've had the opportunity to take Officer Opie Jack downtown to meet our new business owners, meet the new officer that he is, and they all enjoyed it as well. So if we're falling short, that's Steve and I's fault, and we'll make sure that we address it when we get our officers down here. The one thing I will say, it's difficult for us when you talk about the parking, specifically at night, where the ordinance kind of ends, where it's 2 hours after till 6 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, anybody can put their vehicle out on Main Street and leave it there.
Not on
So,
School Street.
No, and we're going to address that.
I think
It's
she's
difficult for
addressing
us 'cause
School Street.
You know all the people that are up here for these meetings, and you know their vehicles.
Right.
We don't. So maybe you guys could have
That's a
like
good
a
point.
special flyer that you can give these people on these boards, and when they do pull up, they put their flyer, almost like a handicap placard, on their dashboard, like a red piece of paper that you laminate, that says like Tilton board member, something like that that could identify these vehicles that may jump out at us, so we could address the issue. Because I don't know what John Smith that lives on Autumn Drive, that's on the planning board drives. It's difficult for us to know all those vehicles. So, and I agree
Try to
that
keep
we
the
want to make
numbers out of
sure,
those spaces.
especially for the elderly, people kind of have difficulty getting somewhere. The other thing I think I mentioned to some of you folks, get those parking spaces, the signage isn't the best. Get those spaces painted a certain color that says town business. I mean, we've got a highway department. Let's get those parking spaces painted blue or whatever color with town parking, 15 minutes, something that jumps out on the ground, as well as good signage up top. And that way we can really come down here and enforce it. Because like, for instance, over here, the sign is like 30 feet away if you park in the back spot. And somebody's eyes might not be all that great. And some of the elderly people that are going to eat next door. So I think painting on the ground, as well as good signage and putting those cyber stakes with the signage at each parking spot is is gonna be our best way to combat it. So when I go out there and say, hey, did you notice the 30-minute town business sign? Well, no. They're like, well, okay, I don't agree with you because it's painted on the ground, it's on the sign. It's things like that we can do that we can attack the problem. Steve and I will do the best we can.
I would recommend that you just give those spots to the town, to the merchants. I mean, if we're so hopped up about making sure that people have parking spaces for the merchants, another 50 feet is a lot where people can park in for town business. Give those spots to the merchants.
What spots outside town hall?
Right there.
Those spots are there.
Give those to Onions. Give those to All in 150.
Those
Give
spots.
those to Brian's and Lawrence. Give those to the tattoo shop, the vapor shop, the smoke shop.
Those spots are for town hall use.
I'm
Those
just
spots
saying.
are because the handicap spaces are so far away.
Make them handicap spaces.
Well, they don't qualify. It'd be very difficult to do that.
Can't open out.
So we don't notice went out, the selectmen shouldn't be parking there unless it's a quick in and out. Personnel shouldn't be parking there. Committee members shouldn't be parking there.
You say selectmen should not be parking there.
They should not be parking there unless it's a quick in and out. And I will say, I have parked there, and I've learned not to park there because for most selectmen, there's no such thing as a quick in and out. So now I park up there.
Yeah, roped in.
But, I mean, here's the issue, and Lou, those are great suggestions, but when there's no meeting here, town hall is black, it's Monday night, it's 5 o'clock, then regular people who use these businesses will park there, even though the sign says don't park here. So here comes Tuesday night, there's a meeting, and that regular still parks there because nobody's telling him not to park there. Now, I have no problem, because I'll call up Terry and tell her, there's a car parked here, or I dial my favorite phone number and get somebody down there and say, there's a car parked here. But I have to think, if there were regular patrols, and I don't mean every day at 3 or 8, but at least once a day, and tickets were given out and not forgiven, somebody really had a parking violation, the word will go around out there in the public, and people would know, don't park there, because it's really hard to see, an older couple who has to come to a meeting, maybe it's planning or zoning, and they've parked out way up in the parking lot, because sometimes at night, you have to park on the other side of the fire station to be able to walk down here. They're pretty tired. I feel like we should put a bench outside so those people have something to sit on so they can get a second breath to get in town hall. But that's really why we put those spaces there. For those people, they don't really qualify for a placard, but they're not 16 years old and can run up and down Main Street 3 or 4 times. So it is important. I mean, I know sometimes it doesn't seem it, but it is. Full hand, the issue in Winnisquam, if it's going to work, it's not something that we're going to be looking at, I've got time on Monday, but nobody goes back for another 10 days, and you still have cars parked every which way.
The first step in the solution is if someone calls the selectmen, I think we should say you need to call dispatch. That at least gives them numbers. Who's calling? How often are these people parking there? And then they can kind of track what the real issue is. Is it one person that's causing this problem? I don't know.
We need to be proactive.
But if we have a log and people are calling dispatch, then that at least gives us a place to start.
But I think, I just want to make one comment.
Encourage the citizens to report it.
The issue with the parking and the patrol is not a patrolman's issue, because I know you have to do what your supervisors tell you. So I know that conversation needs to take place with corporals and sergeants and chiefs and captains. So I do know that. But John, you had something you want to say?
I'm not around during the day, so I don't know what goes on with the parking, but it just seems to me that people shouldn't have to keep calling to say that this car in this spot is parking in a bag, regularly, and that one over there is, and that. It'd be nice to just randomly, when you get the chance, just go down there and do it. And if you get to know the people, the ticket should be enforced and should be paid. There's no forgiving. It's the way it works.
No forgiving.
A lot of the violators, unfortunately, that I've dealt with, when we do go to dispatch and get down here, there are people at the Onion who some are regular, some are not. One woman I addressed was like from Holderness. Another person I addressed one time was actually at a venue for a Rotary meeting. I don't know if that falls under town business.
No, it doesn't.
Alright, but see, like, those are some things that just unfortunately
I'm
we don't
talking,
know.
just, and that goes for, same thing with the speeding. You guys just set up a random speed check somewhere. I mean, just, it's instant, you know, where people are gonna be cutting through. You don't wait for a call, right? Because the way it's been worded is you're asking, people should call if they see a speeder, and then we'll set up something there. You guys have a random, right?
The radar,
Well,
radar trailer logs what the speeds are, what the times are, all that stuff. So some people will look at it, like we could sit you outside with us with the handheld radar and say, how fast do you think that guy's going? You're like, oh, he's doing 50, he's doing 30. So to the non-trained eye, to not know how fast they're actually going, they actually look like they're going fast.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, you know, I keep hearing that they should call if they see something. But my question is, are you using your instincts and saying, this is what people are gonna go through, I'm not gonna wait for a call, today I'm gonna randomly set this up, I'm not gonna wait for people.
I mean, what I'm hearing is you guys are prioritizing safety, right? So it's not that you're letting speeders go, it's that you guys are out doing other things and prioritizing that. Because I know when I went on my ride along, we pulled over several people. And I personally, my previous job, going back and forth through town on every road here, saw you guys all the time. So that's my own opinion on the patrol. I feel like you guys are always downtown, but I think when I say people should call, you just said that people are calling about the same car. Are they? I don't know.
No,
Maybe you guys
I'm not
know
saying
something
they call
I
about
don't
the same
know.
car. I'm saying,
Well, we always encourage, John, if
Yeah.
you see something, say something.
Yeah.
That's a national phrase that we've pitched across the world, right? So we all know that as everybody has a cell phone, they're going to call. It's like, hey, this guy's got a turquoise colored car and I don't like it. They're going to call that complaint too. So we get all kinds. So, but to speak to, like, are we using our instincts to designate patrol areas where we know that they're going to cut through? So I went through and I did the last 5 years cross analysis of all of our calls for service and our statistics. And you know, people were questioning us whether or not our calls for service was up, arrests were up, and so I broke it down. And so I ran the numbers from June 1st of last year to June 1st of this year. We had 2,972 car stops. The year before that, we conducted 2,870 car stops. The year before that, which was about the beginning of the 12-hour shift, we had 1,678 car stops. So you can see a jump in car stops by about 1,200. So 2 years ago, we challenged our officers on their 4-hour blocks. Okay, we tried to designate that for that exact purpose, was to be a high concentration in motor vehicle stops. The reason is, the more blue lights they see, the less likely they are maybe to commit a crime or deterrent. Fair to say. You see blue lights, you're going to commit a crime? No, you're probably going to go to Northfield, Franklin, Chamberlain.
I was going to say the other side of town.
Well, fair enough. So, John, we took those 4-hour blocks, and so typically we have them designated motor vehicle to go out and just hit traffic and be present, and be a supplement to the officers, because we also know the officers are busy because our arrests are up. You know.
now,
Go ahead.
and that led to the next question I was asking about that, is when we discussed about whether we should have 10-hour or 12-hour days. My question at that meeting was, by shifting those 4 hours out, as somebody PTOs, are we losing out on that enforcement? Because the thing we as selectmen have to focus on is make sure that we're getting the proper coverage, and we rely on you guys and look to do is, I don't know how he schedules that stuff.
You know, it seemed like the 4-hour
Are we missing
block.
out?
It seemed like the 4-hour block became like a sore topic. It doesn't occur as often as it kind of got site completed. So we can bring you the statistical data, exactly how many people it takes a 4-hour block per week. And you'll say, oh, it's 2, maybe 3. I don't take it for I would prefer.
But are we missing out
Are we missing?
by like a sudden PTO?
So if we choose not to fill any portion of paid time off use, we'll always be missing out. The question is because is it becoming a safety issue? It's not becoming a safety issue because you use the 4-hour block to supplement our officers. So while we have guys that are out there and they're hitting traffic hard and heavy, we may provide relief or an opportunity for an officer who's got a search warrant. I can hands down call our prosecutor, and he'll tell you that we lead probably all of Lakes region with search warrants on vehicles. We're getting more drugs, we're getting more arrests. This year alone, we're up 150 arrests. So I can't tell you how long it takes to process. Some of you get in an hour and a half hours, some of you like be there for an hour and a half. Bail commissioners are down for a bail commission. You gotta release guys on bail, so we might be waiting for a bail commission for 45 minutes. So, but we're up 150 arrests. So for that number, year prior, 2015 to 2016, we had 509 arrests, right through the period of June 1st to June 1st. This year, we're up at 669. Increasingly, because of the opioid crisis, the arrests are now becoming felony arrests. These felony arrests now require us to do a felony first process, which means your paperwork needs to be the county attorney like yesterday. So, it impacts us. But, numbers are up. Our arrests are up, our stops are up. So the 4-hour block is a moot point.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
We have officers here that haven't spoken. Are there any of you that input, statement, question, comment, anything?
I'll just say,
I you know, in all fairness, like we have the captain here, he's the number 2 command.
Oh, I'm not done with him. I was saving him for dessert.
Jesse Renaud Smith, I'm the prosecuting attorney at Tilton Police. I also ran numbers, and I figured that would help the board a little bit as far as I didn't do the numbers from last year. I did them from January 1st until today. We have written 1,471 citations this year in the town of Tilton. We have 357 arrests, which is a little more than 2 arrests, an average of a little more of 2 arrests per day. We have 283 incidents that we haven't even talked about that may or may not turn into arrests, and 147 accidents that we've covered so far this year. So the amount of time that it takes to process the paperwork is an extreme amount of time. I understand the select board's concern about some of the parking issues or ticketing issues that may happen on Main Street, but I just think that to be fair to the officers with the amount of work that they're actually doing out on the street and the numbers that we're pulling, I've been to court on 1,078 charges so far this year. That's 336 pages worth of cases that I've processed at the Franklin District Court this year. We by far outnumber any other agency, including cities, which would be Franklin, who goes there, who does not bring as many cases as I do. All of this stuff takes time, and so I think, although I understand the concern, and although it's a concern that needs to be addressed, I think that we really have to look at the numbers and be reasonable and say, it's not like the people are just kicking back at the PD with their feet up doing nothing. We're processing thousands of pages of documents to get these cases to court, and I can say that since I've taken over prosecution, I've implemented a few changes at the PD as far as the process that officers and supervisors have to go through. And I think I've seen, I know that I've seen some positive changes as far as that's concerned, and I'm able to get 1,078 charges to the court in a timely fashion, which I think is a pretty outstanding feat in and of itself. So I'm just going to leave my piece at that. I think that the officers here do a fantastic job as far as the amount of numbers that they're pulling and the amount of paperwork that they're processing and the amount of time that they're spending on the cases.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, my second question was, we were asked earlier how each of the selectmen or how the board felt about the 3 12s and the 4 shift, and we didn't respond to that. I did personally, but the other selectmen didn't have an opportunity to. Is there anybody that on the board that would like to respond to that question?
I already responded.
No, I did, but I stopped it. Did anyone want to respond?
I'm good with it.
I already responded.
Peter?
I don't care what schedule they use, as long as we get in the coverage we need. If they're happy with
Sounds
it.
like
That was my concern that I asked when it came up is, are we losing something? Are the citizens or the businesses losing out on something because of this shift change? And the statistics, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. There's a lot of the little things that are real big to some of those people. Are we missing those guys? And the little guys, the little complaints, that they're the ones that are going to lose faith in it. They don't realize all the stuff you guys do. And that's the big concern. That little 4 hours is that taking them away from the little jobs of the parking.
I think it is stopping like, it's not like our productivity has gone down, clearly. So I think that our productivity levels alone speak to the fact that we're not losing services to the town, and we're still providing adequate coverage. The necessities are being covered. If there is a time where somebody uses a 4-hour block, it could be for a mental health day, it could be for a child care day. It's not necessarily to work either. Daytime off is daytime off. Whether I take 2 hours at the beginning of a 12-hour shift and 2 hours at the beginning of a 4-hour shift. Anytime we take daytime off, if it's not filled, then it's one less person working. Now, are we putting the community at risk by doing that? We're not going to do that because we can't allow ourselves to fall into a position where our community is in jeopardy. We're not going to do that. That's just not. Did that answer the question for you, buddy?
Yeah.
Captain?
Just
Is there-
fully supportive of it as long as nobody's missing out on anything. Whatever works.
I just have some examples of what Steve had touched on earlier, just to give you guys an example of like a felony first case. So anytime Jeremiah Trott stops a car, gets felony drugs out of it, okay? Typically, there's a search warrant involved because they're not going to let you search the car. So he has to petition the court to be able to go into the car to get it. He finds the felony drugs, arrests the person for the felony drugs. If the person is held overnight in court, he has 1 day to get his entire case done and brought to the county attorney. If the person is not held, he has 3 days to get his entire case done and sent up to the county attorney's office. A felony case that goes up there, 3 pieces of paper are fingerprint cards alone, where you're typing the same information over again. That's 3 pieces that really are nothing. You have a felony referral, that's 2 sheets long. So now we're 5 sheets deep, we haven't even started yet. You have whatever, for a search warrant, you have the application for the search warrant, you have your affidavit, you have your warrant and your return. That's 4 different articles of paper right there, and depending on the affidavit, it could be 6 pages long, where you're explaining to the judge why you want to get in the car, why you think there's drugs in the car. You go sit in front of the judge and wait for, sometimes he gets you right in, sometimes it takes 4 hours to get in. You don't know. You call the court and say, can I come over? Yep, you can come over. You drive over, he may be in the middle of a trial, you wait till it's done. He gets off the bench, you go in, swear to it, he either issues it or doesn't issue it. You drive back to town, you execute the search warrant by photographing it first, photographing it while you're in it, logging all the evidence, filling out a referral sheet from the state lab, giving that to someone to take the stuff to the state lab. Your police report, now you have to download your photos and document all those photos. Then you have to burn all that to a disk. You have to log your body camera so you can see the type of people that's involved in one felony case. And if he's held, that has to get done tonight. So you're either not walking Main Street because that takes priority, or in the next 3 days, you have to get that done on top of accidents, taking new OFs, doing everything else, or going up to the stores and getting another arrest. So you have that. Jesse spoke about accidents being at 136. When I first started here, we were covering 700 accidents a year. So I think us being out there enforcing traffic laws has dropped the accident numbers quite drastically. They're still horrible, but they've really come down a lot. So that's because we're out there enforcing. People are slowing down, paying more attention, you know. So that's what involves in a felony case, and whether it's felony first 1 day, felony first 3 days, and all the people that's involved.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I used to say to people that 1 in 4 contacts is probably heroin related. People were astonished by that, but I got to now to say 1 in 3 contacts is heroin related.
That's
Context, I mean,
Like we go to a call and we have to investigate and deal with people. That 1 in 3 contacts is probably heroin or opioid related. So,
Which is a felony first
that's
case.
felony.
all right.
So I think to come full circle in regards to the 4-hour blocks, that's why we use them to our advantage, because we have so many of these things that take up our time in those emergencies, and the coverage on the nights and weekends to make sure we can handle all these things that get thrown at us. The last three shifts that I've worked this week, we've pulled, I think 3 separate times, 2 arrests out of 1 business for people that are shoplifting together. So that ties up 2 officers. So that's why we need to make sure that we save our PTO for those nights and weekends, because our resources get depleted very quick. Whereas during the day, it's much easier to rely on the help of the administration and the non-essential personnel that are in the building when they provide. So,
Captain? Oh, I'm sorry.
I hope that answers you.
Do you have anything you want to say or add to this conversation?
Just when I was asked about hire an officer just for that, so while I was just for all the times for the last days, it's control. I spoke to the chief today, he expressed his concern with value around there is value.
Well, maybe we can be creative and try to find a way to fit some patrolling in, because, as I say, I keep coming back to it, Winnisquam is going to become an issue unless we get on top of it. And I do believe we should be proactive.
We can most certainly be proactive. One thing I'll point out is 40 hours a week is 40 hours a week, so you're not going to get more time out of anyone working 10s or 12s, or if I work 10 4s.
I think I heard another shift. The shifts.
So you're going to lack in other areas, probably on the nights and weekends when it's just the patrol division that's here. We don't have the ability to rely on others.
It sounds like right now the 12-hour shifts are safe.
We're going to get on top of it. We really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule. I know running to town isn't easy. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think we have to get this finished.
No. I heard a lot talk about proactive activity. Keep in mind, a lot of the stats we gave you are also service. Every day last week I had a felony arrest. I've had 2 search warrants the last week. We talked about I had about 10 cases pending. I had 4 cases. That being said, proactive activity is not where it was maybe when I was came here, I just walked across traffic and the proper roads. Unfortunately, we have a lot of other cost of service that tie up our attention, tie up our resources, tie up our time, my energy to invest in these critical cases. That at this time is not getting mechanic. So we have a good group of guys, a very solid, good talking officer. However, we are pretty tapped our resources trying to keep up with anything we talk about in creative addressing properties. Those would be avenues for me to money's tight, but personnel does affect the ability to handle these types of work. And those data entries and things. So I would encourage you to keep that in mind, because the problem is just kind of it's doing a little worse. To be honest. Yesterday we dealt with one of those, sending up to them 3 people who were acting that. Right now, since we've been here, we've had more personnel, we have city who's using drugs, we've had 5 illegal complaints, we've had requests to assist them in the agency for one more suicidal overdose with that. So we've been here an hour and a half, and only 5 requests of service that go into our agency for the other options on the rest of the country. This is the time too when you guys say we're having our issues, so I just want to encourage that we are encouraged now, trying to do ideas. I'm done with that long one now, I'm going to start meeting with dialogue with long term.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm glad he said that, because that's what I'm hearing, that we're asking them to be in several different places, but we're not giving them the tools they need, i.e. resources, staff. It sounds like they're doing everything they can.
See, I just think that, Tilton is a very small town. We're 11 square miles, but the amount of numbers that we pull is incomparable to any other town that's our size. I mean, there's towns that are 2, 3, 4, 5 times our size area-wise, square mileage, that don't pull the numbers that we do. I mean, it is just a extremely busy agency, and there's never going to be a way to stop that. I think it's always going to be a busy agency. We have a huge business district in this town, and because of that huge business district, we pull a lot of numbers. So, I mean, the priorities as far as officers and keeping the town safe and making sure that the residents are safe and keeping morale up is, I think, it is the 12-hour shift. And in addition to that, making sure that we field the calls appropriately and make sure that we prioritize appropriately. And unfortunately, that's why parking and Main Street issues I know.
It's not something we can ignore. I understand how busy we are, but we have holes that need to be filled in.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that we should ignore it, nor am I suggesting that we don't do anything about it. I'm just saying that it is a busy agency, and if we have shoplifters or overdoses or drug calls, they're going to take priority over the parking.
I'm Rich Short from the Patrol Division. I worked in Plymouth as the chief though, and I worked there for a long time. We had parking problems probably worse than here. I mean, between the college and the town, it got to be the point where they did actually, and I know this is going back to money and resources, but they did hire somebody to do parking. Because that's all he did he did it Monday through Friday, he did parking. He walked down Main Street 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours a day, and he did that parking because as a patrol officer in Plymouth, I was handling 12, 13 calls by myself. I had no time to go down and do parking. Because in Plymouth, you typically run by yourself during day shift as a patrolman, so you had no ability. And that's where I've seen things too. Like on Monday and Tuesday when I work, I had no time to get down here between the arrests and juvenile shoplifters, the multiple calls like that. I would love to have come down, but there's no way I could have. So I don't know if it's something that I know it is a budgetary thing, but I'm just throwing it out there as something to think about. That if it's becoming a problem, then maybe try to find somebody that we could hire to do that. And maybe not all year long, but in the busy summer months where we do a lot more traffic in town, maybe try to hit those things. And I know it's probably a budgetary thing, I get that, but I just wanted it to be put out there.
Thank you.
The parking issues, I understand because we had the same complaints in Plymouth. We did our best to get out there, but it's hard.
At some point in time, didn't we have Explorers do that?
We did, but with my graduation, my numbers are severely depleted right now.
So we have no Explorers?
I have like 3, and right now they just finished school.
What at a time?
First of all, Rich does a great job with Explorers, of course, the kids do.
I'm just asking a question.
No, yeah, no, like they do, but you give a kid the ability to write a ticket without then to have somebody pissed because they gave the ticket. Those kids have to do it conflict. I don't think they're prepared for conflict.
They're not.
Yeah, I don't have an
But
issue.
this is an issue that's gonna have to be resolved with the captain and the chief,
Yeah.
and I do appreciate your input.
It's a good idea.
They did go down, but I got worried. I had a couple. I did it last time we did it. We did have a couple of my explorers who did mention that most people gave them a hard time, and they're just not. They're not police officers. So if some guy does get in their face and gives them a hard time and pushes them, now what are they going to do? And then we, as a, do I want to put them in safety issues? No. And that's where I kind of got to the point of last summer. I'm like, I'm just nerd, and now with all the drug activity we see downtown, the things you guys are talking about, I don't know if I really want them down there because they're not cops anymore. So it's not really, isn't really safe for them to have to deal with somebody who's high in meth who's downtown on Main Street. I don't want to put them in that position, so.
Thank you.
I think one of the last thing for me is the data entry, right? We went over all the paperwork that takes in a felony case. But now, our dispatch runs from 8 to 4. After 4 o'clock, it goes down to Belknap County. So everything that we do, we talked about the numbers, what our numbers are. I can personally tell you that after 4 o'clock, if it is not something like major, it may not get put into our dispatch. When we're done doing all our stuff for the end of the day, we have to come back in and put all that in. If I stop 10 cars after 4 o'clock, I have to enter all that stuff in. So how long does that take you? Half hour, 45 minutes, an hour?
And
now you're paying me for an hour.
We've been made aware of that.
Enter that.
We were made aware of that a couple months ago, a couple years ago, but recently we've asked the chief to go and get us some numbers to come back for extra dispatch.
We're trying.
We did ask that. We
Well,
did recognize that there is an issue.
Well, that just goes to John's question of, we might not be on Main Street because we're doing data entry, but we
Yeah.
may not be running traffic because we stopped 10 cars, we had to go enter it into the system now. And if you wrote any tickets, it's 2 different systems.
My question was, are we missing
Right,
out
no, I understand.
because we're PTOing the 4 hours? And that's my only question.
I
It's like a yes or no.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and if you say,
It's a
no,
tough-
we aren't,
No.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's
That's all.
It's a tough thing.
I think
so
we've covered everything.
Hours go into that when you divide it up by the 5 guys that work in a day doing that data entry.
I can't thank you enough for coming in. I'm very pleased.
Any other questions? 'Cause, like, I know we just had 3 guys take off.
I think
I think
you're
we're good.
pretty satisfied that 12s aren't going to change, and we're okay, I think.
And I just want to say thank you because I appreciate what you guys do. I understand
I do
it's
too.
stressful, and I feel like you guys are doing everything you can. And I just want this to be like an open dialogue, and hopefully you guys don't leave here feeling, disheartened over this because I think we're just trying to figure out what the problems are. I guess it's parking, and find a solution because I definitely understand you guys work hard and it's appreciated.
I don't think any of us feel really disheartened. It's really, we watch it, we're like, oh wow. But what other forum are you allowed to come down and talk to the selectmen? I don't think it probably happens in many towns where you'll get a majority of the patrol to come down and say, hey, we'll field whatever questions you guys want. We're going to answer it honestly. It may not be what you want to hear, but we're going to tell you. And we appreciate the fact that you guys are open to us coming down and openly talking about it. Because I think it goes a long way. Where it may get lost in the mix in between, oh, well, did you get the selectmen's meeting? No. Oh, well, this is what happened. We're hearing it live and in person.
Good. And it is good. It was good input. And Jesse, those statistics, wow. Talk about eye-opening. I may be calling you. That's incredible. But
All right,
thank
so
you.
everybody come out for the movie tomorrow because
Thank you so much.
really hard on the thing.
You did.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Thank you.
It's up there.
I'll get up.
Great.
Yeah, Smitty's donated all copper.
Nice.
That's pretty nice. In fact, tomorrow I have to go buy 1,000 bags. And then we'll sticker them, buy some water and juice, and
pray for no rain.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, any trash barrels? I know we had talked a little bit.
Truck will be parked,
Truck will be parked.
truck will be parked,
We're
as,
gonna do the truck,
yeah, as close as the hill for bags.
the bags, and there's an empty spot where it's not an access point to, you know, it's like directly behind the pavilion. There's that opening, bike rack. Opening.
Oh, yes, yes.
1, 2.
Yes.
Handicap spots. We
Yeah.
can put it right there. It'd be great.
I don't know if it would fit, but talk more with the Public Works Director about that.
You will?
I don't know, you can. I don't think the truck will fit in that slot, and then
No,
allow,
we got a one-ton. We got a one-ton with a dump body. That's
and then allow people to park in the other spaces without blocking them in.
That whole lot's gonna be divided is designated for handicap anyways.
Yeah, so I would let the truck park in that space that
Yeah, one
hugs
spot
the
in the
wall,
corner.
and then you can always put a small compact car in that space.
Um,
And there seem to be a lot of those in the road.
You all set, Chief?
I had a
I
unique opportunity today. So I was down there building the stage, and I had a guy who's back at the transient guy, Wayne Smith. He helped me all day.
Oh, that's nice.
Awkward. Aggressive.
I know when he said the name, just shooting
I
over.
had a couple sodas.
All right, we're still in the meeting. Let's go.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
What do we have to do? Okay,
Sharon,
I'm tired.
look it up, and I'll come back and help.
What's that?
We can talk to him. Yes, we can go.
Alright.
Okay, thank you.
It might not work.
Okay. That's cute.
What was that?
It's good.
Thrilled.
It's awesome. So just so neat.
Okay, Chief.
I just wanted to, are the guys still there too?
No, just
No,
Steve.
they're out.
Well,
Steve's here.
Just Steve,
All right.
everybody's
Officer
gone.
Henry is still here.
They had a
The
call,
captain.
they had a call to go on.
All right. I wanted to thank everybody and again apologize that I couldn't be there. And, you know, I listened to everybody tonight and I've known all you guys for several years now. And one thing I'm impressed about Tilton is that whether it's the fire department, the police department, the highway department, or the board of selectmen, everybody gives their heart and soul to make Tilton better. I see Catherine pulling weeds out of flowers on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. And I know, Pat, you were delivering air conditioners last night. Ashley, you're donating all kinds of hours to the Community Center. John, you'll do anything we ask you to. Steve Henry's been working up late at night at home to put this movie thing together to make Tilton proud. And I just see it from everybody that works for the town, whether it's police, fire, highway, the board of selectmen, I don't care who it is, Joyce, Dale, and I'm just impressed, Tim. The whole town is full of superstars, and though we have our disagreements from time to time, I just think we can all be proud of each other, and that's all I
agree.
want to say.
I agree.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
We're proud of you too.
Thank you.
Well, we're not so proud of him because he did what he did. Right? Right?
I know, I deserve it.
All right.
What the heck?
Never give me a landscaping assignment.
Nope.
No way.
Keep it lifted. Lots of ice.
Well,
All right.
Good night.
All right,
Take care.
good night.
bye.
Where is
All right, I gotta go to the bathroom if they want to talk. We have
Not
Captain
much.
and Captain and stuff. Non-public.
See you later.
Okay.
Non-public personnel.
Yes. Pardon?
Are we competing against us?
Nothing
You
about
can't.
you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, snap!
Is there
That means it must not involve me.
Is there anybody that needs to be here?
We'll let you know.
Those involved. You're not.
Well, that's usually your first thing anyways.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along.
Motion we go into non-public,
We need to know why.
that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation. Captain, you staying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having a Coke. I gotta stay awake.
You said you weren't done.
I gotta stay awake.
So we had a motion to get into non-public as per RSA 91A:3 matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the body or agency itself, unless such person requests an open meeting.
You're not gonna request it.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
We are red, red is
Never got
on.
there. I never got to me. Never got there.
Please.
Never came through. All right, motion to seal non-public minutes as they pertain to employee permanently.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
I quickly have just two things that came to me today. I know we want to go home, but these can't wait till next week. I was approached by one of the Northfield Selectmen asking us to supply a Public Works employee to the Old Home Day Saturday event from 10 to 3 to help with trash, maintenance, etc., etc. This came up last year. You know, and unfortunately I didn't remember this when he was sitting there. I was deep into something else, but I did think about it during the day, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember. Old Home Day is not funded by the town of Tilton. It is not organized by the town of Tilton. It is a non-profit organization's event. So it really prohibits us from spending taxpayers' dollars on that non-public event. It would be just like us sending a person down to CAP, a police officer down to CAP to control their waiting room, or a public works director down there to pick up their trash or plow their parking lot. That's my spiel. So I say no. I mean, I don't think the law allows us to do this. It's in the second part of the New Hampshire State Constitution. It is a non-profit organization.
I have a very different opinion of that.
It's not my opinion. This is state law. You read it in the
You may
Constitution.
say it's state law, but we have done this.
Let me get
The town, I know what you're gonna read. I know exactly what you're gonna read. And I know you can be really adamant about it. But this has been a joint effort for two towns.
It's not a joint effort.
How many years has Old Home Day been in existence? 40 years?
It's not a joint effort.
Hold on.
Started, or was reactivated when they celebrated the bicentennial.
69.
So since 1969, Tilton and Northfield have joined together in one celebration as one community together, and we can't help them with the one public works director, and they're gonna supply 3 public works directors?
If they want to violate the law, in my opinion, that's their choice.
I think that's
Change the law.
catastrophic. I don't believe it.
It is a non-profit organization's event. It's that simple. And they choose to have it that way. It's not our choice. We didn't create it. A non-profit organization creates an event.
The Old Home Day Committee created a nonprofit 501c3 to put the monies in an account. That's why it became a nonprofit 501c3. We contribute to the Old Home Day.
We don't-
Northfield contributes to Old Home Day.
We buy services from them, just like we do other outside agencies, because it's the only way that we can give them money. We can't give them money to contribute to the organization. We have to buy services. So that's
I
what we're
graciously disagree with you.
doing. It's the law.
I don't care. I graciously disagree.
Read
with
it.
you. I read it.
Well,
I know what
then
the law
that-
says. I know what the law says. I'm going to choose community over the law.
Oh, wow.
I am.
I
For
can't.
this occasion, I am.
I can't.
Is it, I'm sorry, Public Works, say, what's the issue?
She doesn't want
Public Works.
our children.
Taxpayers' dollars cannot be spent
Right,
on
I
a
understand
nonprofit organization, and that's what we're being asked
What's
to do.
being spent? That's what I'm asking.
Paying a public, paying,
So can we ask if they, can we present this and see who would be willing to volunteer for something? Or, I don't know, is there a solution?
well, you said it last year, if one of them wants to volunteer, that's none of our business. They have perfect right to do that.
Do we
So,
have a charity?
When we go and we budget for the Old Home Day, and they bring that amount to us, so what we would have to do is add in the amount to that budget for the total of the hours that we're supplying a person, right? So we can,
To buy services.
They would have to pay somebody to do that.
we can't donate in-kind service?
Well, if they come to us with an increase their request that included hiring
value
an
of-
maintenance
the value of
person,
in-kind?
then the budget committee and the town could decide whether or not they wanted to fund that. So then it would be up to them to hire
But
somebody
Does
to
that
do
mean
that.
our police can't go over there during the day either?
That's a little different. If the Northfield Police Department requests mutual aid, help, in crowd control, that's allowed by the law.
But if we caused damage and things that caused the town of Northfield to have to hire people to pick up all of our candy wrappers and the things that we did from the parade that was attracted all these people,
Then they could fine us. Littering.
fine us,
That's called littering.
and then
Did
we
you
would
seriously just put that on tape? On the camera?
Yeah, well, they could.
Couldn't we just, we're going over there to pick up after the mess that our
Let's just
townspeople
vote.
picked
Can we just
left?
vote and get the consensus?
Yeah,
and
just vote. You can vote the way you want. I
I'm
gave
not ready
you,
to vote.
I gave you,
I
it's
just- I
it's
wanna go
here,
home
you
too.
can read
I'm
it, it's the
tired.
law. I won't go against the law.
I want to follow, I agree, I want to follow the law, but I want to find a way around it. Catherine, you're good with these loopholes and things.
We won't know until it's too late.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other problem. This is coming to us,
Yeah.
I'm like, where were you last week? I could have called up local
Can we
government
check with
center.
local government center tomorrow morning?
Yeah, but, okay, so
Make a decision.
so here's the thing. Which one of our Public Works employees hasn't made plans for the weekend? Why wasn't this request made last week? Now, all of a sudden, we're going to, and last year, it was the same thing.
Oh, see, I didn't,
So now, all of a sudden, we're
Every
going
year it's the
to,
same thing, we always
we did not send anybody over there last year because it was against the law.
Let's see, so we send somebody over to Northfield to help pick up around the Pines,
We do?
right?
Yes,
Is
we
that
do.
what they're asking for, right?
That's correct.
We have the fireworks over here on Saturday night, right? Did they send somebody over to pick up the trash off of the Mill Park?
Nope.
So they pick up after the Pines and we pick up after the mill front.
But they pick up after their fireworks over there, that side too. They have people on their side. Like, what's that park over there? Battery?
Surratt.
Surratt.
Just wish it wasn't this week.
Me too.
I know.
Hear
Me
about
too.
this.
We've
I-
gone through this every single year. There's no surprise that they ask us every year. We
They-
shouldn't be surprised that the 2
We-
days before that they ask us.
We
That's-
did not
we should be
send
prepared for
anyone
this.
last year, or I believe the year before. We haven't,
God, I just can't believe it. No wonder the river widens.
You know what? I don't violate the law. I don't. It's here. It's in our Constitution. I will not. You guys can do what you want. I will not. I wish wholeheartedly that this had come a lot sooner, and I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it didn't, because, like I said, this was the decision last year.
Yeah, so.
You know, really, the first thing I do, even if it's too late for this year, I contact local government center. Now I'd let somebody else do it, so I want to make sure it's not, you know, jaded by.
Please check local government center tomorrow.
But I think it's too late for us to order one of our public works employees to write their plans for the weekend and go over there regardless.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do.
I don't.
I think it's
I
grossly
don't agree
unfair.
with ordering someone to, who's
Yeah.
gotta work tomorrow, that I'm not okay with. But I want,
It's 7 out of 9 years we've sent a public works director over there.
I agree, one
This
should,
is
but I don't
ridiculous.
like demanding that from someone, what, tomorrow we would tell them?
We're not demanding it, they're willing to work the overtime.
They are?
Yes, we've got people that are willing to work it. Absolutely.
That's not what I heard today. But, nevertheless, let's not beat it up.
So I just have one thing is,
But we have to have a decision.
is there a motion?
Well, the
I'm
chair,
not making one.
the chair needs to.
I'm not making a motion on this.
Well, if she's not making.
Why do I
You need a
don't-
consensus, or at least a consensus to move forward and let the town administrator figure out which direction she's going in.
That's not my job, because I'm the chair. There's 5 selectmen sitting here. Any one of you can make a motion or a decision. I told
What's
you
the
my
consensus,
feeling.
board?
Mine is no. Absolutely not.
John, what's the consensus? I'll take control, I wanna go home.
If no one
I
makes.
can't see sending somebody over there unless we have some rational way to say that it's covered.
So
As wrong as much as I think somebody should go over there, and
So
I think it's real important to work together with the town, it's not right, it's not legal, we can't do it.
Okay.
And we should have made plans, and I'm gonna put it in the budget to go and do it
Right,
for next
Peter.
year. And apologize to the town.
Don't violate the law, change
Okay.
it.
Ashley,
John's gonna-
okay, so we don't. I'm a yes,
Now, I just wanted to
let the record show.
make you aware that I was coordinating everything to start next week with the work for the sidewalk, and with planning that we're working back from Breton starting July 10th, Monday, July 10th. They contacted me today and said because of all the rain, they need to push it off to the 17th. And then I got to thinking about it, and I think that would be to our benefit to push it off to the 17th, because the last week of June is the busy month for the town clerk. So we really don't want to be pulling the ramp off the end of next week. Also, the next week, you've got 4th of July, so there's a short work week there for the mason to come in and do his work. And then Brock also has to schedule, even though Catherine says it's going to not interfere with the other people, but they're going to be in working because they've got to dig the trench and put in the pipe and everything. So there's, and also Josh, he finally got back to me to say, I've given him the name of Breton for weeks now, that he's got to coordinate. So that's 5 things that have to be put together. And I'm going to be gone next week. So I want to be able to call Terry, Gary's wife, and say, we're okay with the 17th.
Yep.
And everybody else has kind of been put on notice for that, but I didn't want to finalize it until you said. And then I think everything else can wait. Oh, and then I'll have to have a resolution for you drawn up on Hartwell's. And you know what I can do? I can send you language for that, so they can sign that next week. And also, I spoke to Wayne when he came in, he said he would get the Northfield Selectmen to sign it as well.
Nice, good. Oh, sign hours?
We'll have it come from both.
Okay.
That's all right. You think, I think they
Were
would.
you okay with that?
Yes.
And also,
Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Have the resolution for the concert, 25th year from both towns? sign
It
it?
should be from both towns, of course,
He said he
absolutely.
didn't know anything about it. Wayne, that it was gonna be July 9th, it was a big celebration.
Did anybody tell them?
No, he didn't.
Well, I think Allison's got it.
Allison's been over this.
Allison didn't necessarily let Northfield know. We probably should have well, Wayne probably didn't know. He's one of the selectmen. So we probably should have made sure that, when we got anything
Say
about
something after the tape
anything
goes
about
down.
the island, we should definitely send to Northfield, unequivocally, without thought.
And then the timer's gonna be put on tomorrow. It's just temporary. He ordered a new one. He had an old one he put on, and as soon as the new one comes in, he'll come back.
But he's got
Who
more.
have keys to that? And who has keys to the
A lot
box?
We
of
have one
box.
on our desk. and
Did we
then
change
left
the
it
lock?
unlocked.
Did we change the lock?
We got
Yes.
keys to all those in our key
Then I
box.
can throw my key away?
No, it's the same padlock.
Oh.
That's a different lock that's to the power box. That's not to the timer. It's different. Don't throw that one away.
You ready?
I don't need it. Yeah, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Aye.
I don't need another
Vote with your
key.
feet.
Yep.
Well, there's your problem.
Aye.
Good night, Ashley.
See you guys. Oh yeah, so what about Saturday? 9:30?
9:30.